Before I get started, I just want to thank Special Agent in Charge Rachel Bird. I know she's extremely busy. She took time out of her schedule to be here today, so I really appreciate that, ma'am. From the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I also like to thank Mike McElhenney, who's been tremendous throughout this process. He's offered assistance to the Annapolis Police Department, and he's been very valuable in helping us to coordinate our efforts so that we could bring this case to a close. Also like to thank the mayor. We had a very meaningful meeting this morning with the mayor, and I think a lot of positive stuff came out of that. I don't know if the mayors are going to speak, but I just want to thank Mayor Buckley as well, along with my Deputy Chief, Stan Branford. You know, we're still grieving over the killing of Miss Cummings, Michelle Cummings. And as I said in the previous press conference, we're going to do everything that we can, that's humanly possible, to bring the killer into a court of law to account for this most horrific act as expeditiously as possible. In conversations with Mike McElhenney, I talked about the need to offer meaningful reward money for any information that could help expedite this case to bring the individuals to justice and to get the type of information we need to solidify a conviction in this case. He agreed, after consultation with the Bureau, to offer a $10,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of the individual responsible. Equally, I believe it's L.C. Cheeks, Special Agent L.C. Cheeks from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives also matched that. So the ATF has offered a reward in the amount of $10,000. And so far with the Metro Crime Stoppers reward money, that takes us over $20,000. I'll just say this, there's certain questions that I may not be able to answer. When this is over with, we'll do our very best to answer as many questions as we can. But as most of you would understand, that we want to be transparent, but at the core of this is making sure that we say nothing that can compromise the integrity of the investigation. Of course, the case has to be tried in the court of law, not in the media. But at the same time, I think that the public has a right to know the progress of the investigation. So some questions we'll be able to answer, some questions we may not be able to answer. But I want you to understand that it's not because we're not being transparent. We just don't want this case is too important, as all murder cases are. We don't want anything to compromise the integrity of the investigation. So I think I've said enough for right now, and I would invite the next person who wants to come up and give a few words. I mean, and I just can't say this enough. I'm a bit emotional with this case because the way it happened, I'm just a true victim, and my heart continues to go out to the family of Michelle Cummings, her son, who's a plebe at the Naval Academy, football player, and her husband. You know, Mr. Cummings, my heart goes out to him, and we're going to do our very best to bring closure, that closure, at least the legal aspect of it, to the family. So having said that, I guess you'll bring the next person up. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Rachel Berg, and I'm the Acting Special Agent in Charge of the FBI's Baltimore Field Office. I want to start out today by expressing my condolences to Mrs. Cummings' family. You have suffered such a senseless loss, and we grieve with you. Beyond being an FBI agent, I'm a mother as well. I know the pride that she must have felt bringing her son to start his new life as a member of the midshipmen, only to have her life cut so senselessly short. I'm sure the ATF would agree this, but we're only as strong as our partnerships, and we are proud of the relationships we have with the Annapolis Police Department. As soon as we heard about yesterday's tragedy, we reached out to the chief with a few questions. What can we do to help? What do you need? And when do you need it? We will use every tool that we have, every technique that we know, and all the time that we need to help solve this crime. All of us here not only owe Ms. Cummings and her family, we owe it to them and to this community to solve this. This is not who we are, and this is not what Annapolis is, or should ever be. In addition to these resources, we are here to announce something else, a reward. Today we are offering an additional $10,000 each for a total of $20,000 for information that leads to the arrest of anyone responsible for this murder on Tuesday morning. Someone out there, maybe they are listening right now, knows something. They may have heard something. They may have been there and seen something. But this is true, they know something. As I said before, a killing like this is not who we are in Annapolis. This is not what this community is about. And that alone should give you a reason to call in a tip with what you know. But if that isn't reason enough today, we've just given you 20,000 more reasons to call. So please, pick up the phone, help this family get answers, help give them peace. They deserve that at least. No murder makes sense, but a random killing like this shouldn't make sense. As I said, I'm a mom, and I spent some time learning as much as I could about Michelle Cummings. I saw the news story where the community had a parade for the 3 graduates in their community that were going to Annapolis. During COVID, people would drive by and drop off cards and gifts for the graduates. And I saw Michelle standing there beaming. I saw the pride that she had for her son. Her standout football star was going to one of the most elite schools in the country. He was not only going to be a leader on the gridiron, but he was going to be a leader in the finest fighting force this world has ever known. And I could see that pride. We dream of that success for our own children. Sadly, that dream ended in the darkness in the early morning hours of Tuesday morning. But today, with the community's help, we can bring light to that darkness. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Acting Special Agent in Charge Berg. Good afternoon. I'm LC Chiefs, the Assistant Special Agent in Charge for the ATF Baltimore Field Division. We offer our sincere condolences to the family of Michelle Cummings. Your visit to Maryland should have remained full of joy and promise and not resulted in tragedy. We wish you peace and your family privacy as you grieve. Criminals who bring guns into our community, like the perpetrators of this crime, have a total disregard for human life. They do not care how their shootings devastate innocent lives in our communities. We are joining our partners in the FBI to offer a combined $20,000 reward. Our partnership with Annapolis PD, and we want them to know they have our full support of ATF and all of its resources as the detectives work to identify the persons responsible for this crime. If you know anything, please call Annapolis PD investigators immediately. Michelle Cummings deserves justice. Her family deserves justice. Thank you.
Any questions for the chief?
Chief, do you have any leads at this point?
Yes, we do. We basically know what happened, how it happened, and I'll just say that, yes, we continue to investigate. It's still very early on in the investigation. What we're doing, we're looking at closed circuit TV and video footage all over the city, we're interviewing potential witnesses. So I'm just hopeful that we'll come to a successful conclusion real soon.
You said you know what happened? What happened?
Well, we know preliminarily that two people were sitting in a car, an SUV, on Pleasant Street, adjacent to where the homicide occurred, and shots rang out. At least one of the shots, more than one we believe, struck Miss Cummings.
Do you know who you're looking for? Do you know who the suspect or suspects are?
I don't want to talk about that right now. That's a part of the evidence that I'm not comfortable with talking with right now. We will update that in the future.
Can you confirm how many times Ms. Cummings was hit?
We're still waiting for the autopsy report. It appears to be twice, but I can't confirm that pending the results of the autopsy report.
In regards to the vehicle that was hit, were those two individuals inside injured whatsoever, and have they been interviewed as well? And
The answer to the first part is no, they weren't injured. They're still assault victims. The intent was to injure them, which makes them victims of an assault. And they weren't injured. The only person that was injured that we are aware of was Miss Cummings, who was obviously killed.
in talking to them, did it appear that they knew these shooters at all, or that they were targets?
Well, that hasn't been confirmed. They were targets, but that's about all I can say right now. I don't know that they knew the shooter. Yes, we talked to them that night.
How pertinent will ballistics be in this investigation? Has the department located any shell casings in the hopes of tracking this weapon?
Well, without getting into too much of the evidence, to answer your question, shell casings are, of course, always pertinent. You know, every barrel has lands and grooves, and it's a fingerprint. But without talking about the evidence specifically, to answer your question in a very general sense, yes, ballistics is very important.
Have you been able to recover any video at this point? I know you've been looking for it. You've recovered multiple videos that may help show what happened. Anything on Pleasant Street that may have shown, anything?
I don't want to get too specific about that right now, but we have we've recovered video, and my detectives around the clock, literally, are looking at the video.
Chief, what guided your thinking to bring the FBI and the ATF into this decision so early, as opposed to some of the other crimes that have happened in years past?
For a couple of reasons. This again, I've been a police chief, John, here for 2 years now, and every person who gets shot or killed or the victims of any other kind of assault deserve justice, regardless of their lifestyle. What touched my heart with this particular case is that everybody knows the story. I mean, a young man who's shown promise, a young African American, not that race has anything to do with it, but a young African American male has been accepted to the Naval Academy. His family travels from Houston, Texas, and which should have been the highlight of their summer, to take their son to an induction ceremony, and then it ended the way it did. So I work with, they've been great partners. The feds have been great partners during my 2-year tenure. So the day is not the first day that we've partnered with our federal partners. We don't always talk about it publicly, but the field office here and along with the other federal agencies have been a tremendous help in other cases. So this is not the only case where we've partnered with the feds. Of course, many of you read in the Capitol a couple of weeks ago, we've had a large drug seizure. That was with our federal partners. We've gotten guns off the street. That was with our federal partners. So this case is not specific to Ms. Cummings, although I have no problem with calling anybody, the FBI, the Secret Service, I mean, any federal agent, this Maryland State Police, anybody who could help us bring some closure to this family. So,
Chief, the victim's son that you just spoke of, his family has
I'm sorry, the last part. Well, I said to him, I think the best way to honor your mother's legacy, because she was a big part of you being here today. She raised you, she nurtured you, she loved you, and the best way to honor her legacy is to go forward with your education at the Naval Academy. I know this is personal, I'm a spiritual man. I do believe in God, and I believe that she's watching down over him. And what my focus is now is to bring closure to the Cummings family. But yes, to be more specific to him, I told him I was proud of him, and he's doing something that the entire family's proud of. So don't let some misguided gunman take that away from you. You came down here to attend the Naval Academy and graduate and become a naval officer one day and make a major contribution to America. And don't let a criminal stop you from doing that. Your mother wouldn't want that, and his dad was right there. Your dad wouldn't want that, and that's still my advice to him. The best way you can honor the legacy of your mom is to make her proud by walking across that stage and receiving your degree and your commission from the United States Navy.
Chief, Annapolis is not unique in being able to get witnesses to talk. So this is a significantly larger sum than Crime Stoppers can offer. Do you have confidence in the fact that just a little more extra money would have people come forward?
Well, and I'm smiling when I say that's always a motivator. That's just that's our society, and don't read into that too much. But money is always a motivator. Of course, our end game is that we want to build an airtight case and bring the person who's responsible to justice. And however we can do that ethically and legally, we're willing to do. And it is a motivator. We have to dismantle this culture. And dismantle this, in sociology we call it anomie, this hopelessness. People don't have hope in the criminal justice system like they should. People don't see their civic duty as we once saw it generations ago in America. And we have to get people, murder's everybody's business. If somebody gets killed in your community, you don't mind your business if somebody gets killed. If you have information that could lead to the arrest and conviction, then by the way, that's not my line. I got that off of Gunsmoke. They said murder's everybody's business, and it is. So I don't want anybody to come back and say I plagiarized from Gunsmoke, but Matt Dillon said murder's everybody's business, and I agree with him.
Can we expect to see these kinds of rewards offered for future crimes? I mean, we've had 2 other homicides that didn't garner this.
As need be, but if you're talking about this year, we've had 2 previous homicides, and we didn't need reward money. We were able to close those rather quickly, and so those 2 individuals who were responsible for the 2 previous murders are now in custody and awaiting trial.
We've got one more question.
Sorry. At this point, is there anything more that we should be putting out?
I'll just say use the mantra that the federal government and state governments are using. If you see something, say something. Any information that you think is important. Don't say, and this is what my plea to the public, if you believe that you have information that could help us, please don't sit on that information, even if you think it's small. What may be small to you may be the piece of the puzzle that we need. So I'm asking the public to call us with any information. You're not worrying us. We want our phones to be flooded with information. Okay, thank you.